I'm glad Pete Buttigieg is running for president.
I definitely think he has the qualities that are very presidential.
He's gay, and he put it out there. He didn't try to hide it, he just put it on out there, because if he had not, it would have been a barrier.
Mayor Pete Buttigieg as a presidential candidate. It's a very ambitious, it's a very ambitious goal.
South Bend, Indiana. No city has been as integral to the presidential campaign of its hometown candidate as South Bend has been to its former mayor, Pete Buttigieg.
South Bend is a place full of vibrant neighborhoods, vibrant arts, like it's all the beautiful things that small cities have.
It's a place where it's easy to make friends and find your way, but it's also a place where there's a lot of enthusiasm right now for what we can be together, and there's a lot of examples of how that's playing out.
The 38-year-old with a shorter resume than his rivals looks to his time as mayor as proof of his governing experience.
He doesn't have that experience that some of our people that are running have, but he got the guts and he listens well.
I think he has the experiences to lead others, and I think he really is a leader who empowers others. And so that's what I've seen of him personally in his time in South Bend, leading our community from his mayoral presence. But I think that will translate into a presidential race.
While most of the national coverage fixates on whether Mayor Pete did a good job, the 104,000 residents of South Bend have been grappling with a broader question. What does it mean for a city to reinvent itself?
I think anybody you talk to in South Bend right now will tell you it's really felt that something new is happening, that there's been a turn on the way, and that we're in it right now. From what I can tell, that's been the result of a few different factors that have come together. I mean, for one thing, I think there was a lot of people already here in South Bend who cared, but when Newsweek magazine called us one of America's most dying cities, rather than discourage, I think what that did is kind of riled us up.
We really have, over the last decade or so, really started to do some great things within this community, really led by private industry, the public sector, and of course the great educational institutions in our region.
South Bend sits between Chicago and Detroit, 35 miles southeast of Lake Michigan. Until the 60s, it was a factory town, and Studebaker was its pride.
The new 1953 Studebaker, the new American car with a European look.
The city swelled with middle-class workers who could rely on a lifetime of solid work right out of high school. But in 1963, Studebaker closed its doors for good, leaving thousands out of work. It signified the collapse of the Rust Belt, where in town after town, major industrial employers were folding or moving away.
In the first half of the 1900s, Studebaker became the driving economic force of this city, along with some other manufacturing brands. And then through a long history, I think, of some bad deals and some bad decisions, that company went from being really robust to closing in the early 60s. And with that closing, I mean, tens of thousands of people lost their livelihood in South Bend.
When they closed their doors, that really, I guess had a real effect on the community. And I think, because of many, the community survived, a large downturn like that. And really, over the next several decades, that downturn, although it was felt substantially, the community never crumbled. It never went away.
So a lot of the folks that have stayed in neighborhoods that have been hardest hit economically, and Near Northwest neighborhood is one of those neighborhoods, is that you often find folks that had fewer economic opportunities to leave the city. And when Studebaker pulled out, among other industry, but majorly Studebaker, it left a lot of people without a backup plan or an option to move into other industry.
Today, new companies are setting up shop in South Bend, and downtown is booming.
South Bend developed like a lot of cities in this part of the country with industry, and at the same time has a lot of reasons to be hopeful and energetic.
South Bend's a very diverse place now. It has grown in population. There are more jobs now than there were before. I think overall it's becoming a very nice place to raise a family.
At least 70 tech startups have launched at nearby Notre Dame University.
All of a sudden, a place like South Bend became a place that you could build things. And because of the dynamics of our town, low cost of living, great educational institutions. The technology sector has definitely awoken in this town, if you will, and we're starting to see a lot of more net new startups coming in every year and being built here in South Bend using the talent and the resources that are available. And it's a really good time to be here.
Beyond downtown, the city redid the streetscape of Western Avenue, which is lined with Latino businesses, and supplied a grant to spruce up the facade of a popular ice cream store there.
Western Avenue was really where the first Latino businesses were located. Before, and predominantly was known as Little Mexico. So it's really nice seeing how the Latino population is really getting involved in different aspects of the community. I think it almost brought back a sense of, it enhanced a sense of belonging.
Some credit Buttigieg with this change, saying his ability to attract new talent in city government helped build South Bend's profile.
And now,
others say the change began before his time as mayor.
what are we going to do to get this country on the right track before it's too late? Because we cannot go on with 4 more years of what we got right now.
I think it's hard to talk about the revitalization of South Bend, if you want to call it that, without talking about Mayor Pete.
I think that he's been totally interested in supporting himself. If those things, those changes were to help him out, I think that he would have went about them and got some of those things done.
It's probably giving Pete too much credit to say that, he kind of rode in and brought a revitalization to the city through policies and, efficiencies and innovation.
Despite the revitalization of South Bend, about 20% of the population lives below the poverty line. The Black poverty rate here is twice the national rate.
The Black community, you have double-digit unemployment in the Black community. You have well over 40% poverty. A number of the schools that many of the Black and brown children go to are receiving failing grades from the state. So, when you have that sort of a mixture and you're dealing with it, you can only expect a couple of things. And one of the things that is top of the list is crime. And that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a lot of crime because of the lack of opportunities.
And high-paying tech jobs are unattainable in a city where roughly 70% of residents don't have a college degree.
I feel that South Bend is small enough that we can change some of the things that need to be changed in our city.
For Buttigieg's supporters, the change in South Bend is a result of his ambition. For his detractors, it speaks to his moderation, that they say fails to meet the urgency of the times.
He's young enough to get it. If he don't get it right now, he's young enough to get it or later on in life or to help make change occur.